Welcome to Elevating Your Life, where each episode is dedicated to sharing valuable information, useful techniques, and empowering inspiration so that you can experience personal and physical abundance. Success and happiness are within your reach. I am your go-to gal who will help you find your happiness triggers and a true elevated life. I am your host, Paula Vail. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, I am sharing fabulous lady. We have with us today, Darlene Green. She is highly sensitive, a natural empath, healer, teacher, and scribe. She is author of multiple books. This is her book, In Service to Love. It's absolutely amazing. I literally was every chapter, oh my gosh, I love it. Yes, yes. And then I'd go to the next chapter. Yes, yes, I love it. It's fantastic. I want to say welcome, Darlene. I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Oh, Paula, thank you so much. I just can't tell you how delighted I am to connect with you and to be able to be here and share a part of my journey.
This is so wonderful, so wonderful. Well, I would love to begin with having you share a bit of your background and, you know, what brought you to where you are now, doing what you're doing and writing these amazing books. What has triggered that for you, Darlene?
Well, there's triggers and then there's life. So really, you know, we live our life based on, you know, what it appears as though we're doing in our life. And then oftentimes there's a track that's below that really is the part of who it is that we are. So what it looked like on the surface was growing up in a really great family with 3 sisters, and you know, I was in marketing and sales, and then I went into the healing arts. I was in doing energetic healing in a clinical setting for a number of years because it was really touching my soul. And then I went into really full force of my own spiritual quest. Now, the spiritual part really did not start. It started very early. I was aware at 4 years old that I had a counsel. And I remember the day as if it were happening yesterday. I was 4 years old, Christmas Day, and I was looking out the window in Winnipeg, Manitoba. My twin sister was right beside me, and I was watching the sun dance on the crystals of snow out front, and I was just mesmerized. And I was thinking, the earth is such a strange place. It is so strange here. Why am I here? And at that moment, I knew that the voice of my counsel came through as if they were right there in the room. And they said, to make people happy. Now, I never questioned that because it was extremely natural and loving and caring. And I just carried on with my life. And at 4 years old, that seemed to be sufficient for what I needed at that time. So I've always been very deeply sensitive, really taking in my world from a sensory standpoint as opposed to thinking. And so I would really consider myself as being unconscious. I had no self-awareness. There was no way to match up the deep sensitivity that I had with the life that I was living. I was living, just standard normal life, but there was no space there for the depth of understanding that I had, or what it is that I saw, or what it is that I heard. I didn't know that I saw or heard any more than anybody else. I just began to feel this. It's interesting because what it feels like to me is a chasm that grew between what it is that I saw in my physical world and a depth of knowing that I had internally. So I was living basically on two tracks. And then I got married. I became an instant mom, have two beautiful stepchildren, and life is carrying on and looking great, and we're having fun. And yet there's always been this deep, deep like search that I've had. And I would have to say that it's under the category of mission. I've always had a deep sense of mission, beyond something beyond purpose. It was something that was really deep, that was a have to.
Yes.
And so I would have to say that pulled me. And living a life of unconsciousness, yet having this something I couldn't even identify pull me. It's like I found myself finding my way to, after we had just been married for 2 years, and I had this inner thought, I think I'm going to find out about spirituality now. So I went and I took a class on meditation, and I have to say that it was after the class in meditation that everything broke loose. When I say broke loose, I started having visions, the visions of angels. I would wake up in the middle of the night hearing the music of the I get goosebumps just thinking about it, the music of the heavens. And it is so incredibly beautiful. It has like texture and depth, and there we go. And it is multidimensional, and these experiences were extraordinary. And so I would see angels, feel their presence. Jesus would appear in front of me, standing, with arms outstretched. And at one point, when Jesus first appeared to me, and in the presence of that deep sacred experience, of course I'm sobbing, and internally I'm confused, and I said to the Jesus that I saw and felt, it's like, are you inside me or are you outside me? And what happened, and there was no words in the meeting. He transmitted a message, and I received it at the same time. It was simultaneous, and he moved his arm, his robe, and as he moved his robe, it revealed the universe and eternity. And what he said was, all of this is inside you.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I don't know what that means, but man, that was pretty awesome. That was extraordinary.
That is amazing. That's beautiful. Wow, Darlene.
An extraordinary moment. And then at that time I'm working in marketing in a large insurance company, and I'm witnessing balls in my office disappear, and all of a sudden I can see through them. And what I knew in those moments is that I knew that my understanding of reality, things that I could see and touch, is not all that there is to reality. That there's so much more to that story, and I wanted to know more. So I was doing my meditation, and I really had a tough time still bridging the gap between these experiences and how they apply to my life, and living these. There was still these two tracks going on of the human and the divine. Now I look back and it's like, oh, I see the perfection of every single moment of that. But what this led me to was, studying of, numerology. And I discovered numerology, and I go, oh, that's it. Oh, there's something here. That's it. And the internal answer that I would always get, that would ring through me, is yes, and. I think, oh, darn, I have to keep looking. Oh, okay. Then there was astrology. It's like, oh, this is awesome. Yes, and.
Oh.
And with everything I would encounter, it's like, oh, the story, the angels. It's the story of the angels. Yes, and. Oh, not back on the track, back, back into my sleuthing, my spiritual sleuthing some more. More classes,
There's
shamanic
more.
There's more. What?
Wow.
So, yeah, it was really, really pretty exciting. So, again, this is living the background of my life. And as I go through these different stages, my experience in life changes. I develop this level of consciousness about my own belief systems, how it is that I've created my life from a series of default beliefs. And then through the whole process, I begin to realize that I can create through my own beliefs. It's like, does this belief fit me? Is this appropriate now? Is this what I choose to do? And I began to create my life more from a consciousness standpoint.
Wow.
And I have to say, in the late 90s, I woke up in the middle of the night. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I go to the computer, go to the computer, go to the computer, go to the computer. Well, I went to the computer, and I wrote, blurry-eyed, and I'm typing. It's like I don't even know what I wrote, but it was two pages, and then I wake up in the morning and I read it, and it was called Living Consciously. And so that began, I started to lead some classes on living consciously here in the Seattle area. So I'm coming to where it is that we are right now.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, tell us, what does living consciously mean to you? What do you inspire with that when you would speak about that and do classes?
Well, living consciously has to do with really being able to identify that as human beings, we have taken on a whole set of belief systems that we don't even question. As a part of our humanity, we live a little bit on autopilot, okay, or maybe a lot on autopilot. Mm-hmm. And that autopilot has a whole series of beliefs and values that are given to us by our family, maybe generational, maybe cultural. But until we really take a look at them, there's not an opportunity to be able to be empowered in our life because we aren't choosing. We're taking on without questioning. So as I begin to choose those beliefs that actually are a fit for me, there's really a sense of not being able to be empowered and not being able to see the more that's available in life.
Yes.
So
And
that's what I mean.
Yes. Something you mentioned in your book, choose to see beyond what you have seen before. I thought that was so powerful, Darlene.
Yeah.
When we can go outside the box and be open to see something we may have never seen before, we really open a door, don't we?
You're absolutely right, and it's interesting. It is a door because I also experienced a lot of my inner growth as moving over a threshold. So you're right, it is. And so what became really clear to me one day, and this is a part of the progression of consciousness that I was experiencing, was that as I create from the realm that I know, nothing else is possible. And as human beings, that's really what we do. We live within a realm that we know. We affirm what it is that we know. We keep on experiencing like a hamster in a wheel. But that's not going to bring me the realm that I'm looking for. I'm looking for what I don't know. I'm looking for something new that is going to be rising up. So what became really clear to me was the fine art, and it is an art, of living the edge of what I know and what I don't know. So for example, if you can visualize the sphere of everything that you know, everything that you're familiar with, I picture it and I feel it as a sphere. And move to the edge of that sphere when you are right up against the edge of what you don't know. Now that is a place of creativity. That is the place of the profound. Yes. That is the place where I'm going to be learning something. And that's where I choose to live. Yes. Because as I'm driven by this deep internal mission, it's not fed by something I already know. I must go beyond that. So part of my mandate right now is that space of living to the best of my ability, up against, and it's interesting, I feel it like leaning into like a membrane, leaning into like the edge of the balloon, right? And pushing it out. And then living from a space of curiosity where I create space for that which I don't know to rise up into my awareness.
Yes. Yes.
And that's where the fun is.
It is something, I'm big on my, little morning affirmations, and something that I have said for years is I choose to see through the eyes of source and merge with totality. And what that is for me is to go beyond, what I just see in that circle around me, to be open to things like what you've experienced. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing, Darlene.
Yes. There's one thing right now that it's a foundational concept that's coming to me right now to be able to share, and it's right along those lines. But I think that it allows an empowering perspective to be had. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit and say I became aware that I was a scribe in 2015 with some visits to sacred sites in southern France. That led me to this deeper expression, this deeper journey that led me to understanding and actually meeting the Council of Light that had spoken to me when I was 4 years old. And so they had been present. So Jesus has always been an extraordinary presence in my life. Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Michael, Mary Magdalene, Melchizedek, the Hathors, Saint Germain, and there are more. The Great White Brotherhood, and so on December 26th of 2017, they appeared to me and surrounded me, enveloped me in this extraordinary experience of love that was the beginning of In Service to Love. And so I was invited to sit with the Council of Light for 1 year and 1 day. And they're still with me now, but now the expression is another expression that's an expansion of In Service to Love. But In Service to Love is 3 books, each of 122 days of writings. When you receive not only the messages, but there's a frequency that's present with each one of these messages as well that creates an extraordinary quilt with golden thread of love, bringing all of it together. So one of the foundational concepts that were presented to me as I sat with the Council of Light, and one of them had to do with the experience of the gradients of light. So, for example, many people believe that when we die, that it's only after that moment that we pass over, that only then do we have the availability of seeing what was unseen. And what was shown to me is that no, Darlene, you have that ability right now. You, as source and form, have access beyond barriers. There are no barriers. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what does this mean actually to my life? And it's extraordinary. It's an extraordinary thing. So we're talking about this gradients of light. So if you can imagine, and the way that presented to me was like an artist's like a watercolor, and I saw like from one end of the spectrum is like a dark blue, say as dark as like a black blue, right? And then you add light, you add white, little bits, tints of white, little bits, until you get to the other end of the spectrum, which is so white you don't even see the blue anymore. That really is a description of the capacity that we have access to in light. If who I am is source and form, then it was described to me that the part of me that's informed is like a hand in a glove. That enlightenment, or the expression of who it is that I am in light or beyond form, is available to me right here, right now. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So right now, each one of us holds the capacity to own and explore, to experience, to gather our own wisdom, the wisdom of our I am self from that's available to us right here, right now. But it's like going to the kitchen and going to the right place to get the coffee cup. You just need to know where to look. It's very simple. And so in service to love really is an invitation to begin to look at things in a new way. So for example, when you're talking about experiencing yourself as your own wholeness and totality, it's like, absolutely. The invitation that I had was, okay, go ahead and stand at your I am self. If who you are is this spectrum of light, this spectrum of divinity, where our humanity and our divinity are joined, we are whole. There is no separation, never has been. We don't have to wait until we die to experience our beautiful divine essence. It's available here in every single moment. So as we move, enlightenment really is a perspective. So as we move our attention to and stand, like just out of curiosity, just like, if I were to stand and look at the world from the space of my I am, what would that feel like? How would life occur from there? How would I be being? Who would I be? And the interesting thing is that as I experience my own standing in my I am, there is clarity with everything. That is where my peace is. That is where I connect with who it is that I am as love, as source and form. I see all of this as joined. I see the unity of the planet. And what happens once we begin to experience our own enlightenment, which is actually living from that space consciously, is that really is enlightenment. That's our divine nature that is integrated with our human nature. And what happens is that when our physical life is informed by our divinity, oh my goodness, the beauty of every moment is just a gift. And we get to have the opportunity then for our soul to be expressed in every moment in our life. And then what gets to happen? I get to live my life from my soul's mission. I get to come here, I get to be present in my life, I get to have these extraordinary moments and be informed by my soul, live by the voice of my soul. And you know what? So something like enlightenment once seemed like far off, like how many years do I have to spend in the Himalayas for that? It's available through an invitation to choose another perspective right here and right now.
Isn't that beautiful? And isn't that exciting, Darlene? Isn't it?
Paula, I can't tell you, I am excited over here every day. I am. And I have been, as I've been writing these books, I have been sharing them with my sisters and a few, family and friends. And I am touched by how they have been touched. Each one of them have been met where they are at in their own journey. And so there's something, and I know that I am, the author. I am a scribe, but I am not the only author of this.
Yes.
And it is an honor.
True. Well, before we say goodbye, we have a few minutes left. Tell everyone where they can get your books. And I know you have another one coming. And what message you'd like to share with us before we say goodbye?
Oh, I would love to. Thank you. So my website is darlenegreenauthor.com. and feel free to go and visit. I'm finishing up book 3 now, so I'm just going to be creating, I'm just on the edge here of creating other opportunities to get together with both me, the Wisdom and Service to Love, and the Council of Light in more of a community and a group way. I've got some new writings that are coming out. Book 3 is coming out next month, which would be July of 2020. So that's Darlene Green, author.com for more information. And I'm also on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Indie and a few others, but they're on my website.
Thank you.
The message that I would love to share with your viewers, Paula. First of all, I would like to express my love and appreciation for asking me to share this body of work.
Thank you.
And I would like each person that hears this to consider your own divinity. Consider that who you are as source and form is the best of humanity and the best of divinity, and that it's possible to live your life from that moment, from that space. What makes that accessible is living in the moment. Right now, our globe, our earth, everybody on our planet is undergoing a transformation. And what I am suggesting is that rather than referencing externally, that now is the time to turn inward, to begin to develop an ear towards your own heart, your own soul's message. And the way that occurs is by being very present. And you can say, I bring all parts of me present here and now. I bring all parts of me present here and now. I bring all parts of me present here and now. Take a deep breath, and you'll feel the cohesion of yourself as you land completely. Allow yourself to be inspired. Know that you are in the perfect place at the perfect time. Choose to be present in the now moment. When you feel yourself in a space of chaos and worry and concern, turn around. Like being in the rings of a hurricane, turn around and walk your way back to your center again and begin to develop this new listening for your own soul.
Oh, Darlene, thank you so much. Thank you for your beautiful messages, your beautiful words. Oh, a big heartfelt thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Paula.
This has been so fantastic. I am just so grateful for us to have the opportunity to have you with us. Everyone out there, thank you for joining us. Love, hugs, and blessings. Darlene, love, hugs, and blessings.
And thank you to you too.
Thank you.